The Dark Universe is Universal's attempt to replicate the success of the MCU, but it has been very rocky for a long time, though it still has the potential to gain some legs. The universe is filled with monsters and nightmares that have been part of pop culture since the 1930s. So what if we lived in a dark universe? What would the lifespan of the average person be, and how different would society be? That is what we'll talk about today on Green Click. By the way, please give us a like and subscribe if you love these kind of videos. It helps us make more videos you love about our amazing content. Let's dive in. Unlike the other two universe videos in our cinematic universe week, living in the dark universe would be less destructive but more horrifying. While the MCU would introduce aliens and mutants and the Monsterverse would be filled with global destruction, living in the dark universe would be filled with horror, witchcraft, magic, and evil science. Let us take a look at what would exist in the dark universe before we get into what you may experience. The dark universe has Dracula, a vampire, the Mummy, an ancient evil. You've got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a mad scientist who altered himself. You've got the Wolfman, a werewolf. You've got Frankenstein's monster and his bride. You've got the Invisible Man. You've got the creature from the Black Lagoon, an Amazonian sea monster humanoid, the Phantom of the Opera, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame. There are obviously more monsters in the universe, but the aforementioned monsters are the most famous ones. If we went all over their abilities and history, this video would go on for 5 more days, so we'll just emphasize on the experience of living in this shared universe. First of all, there will be fear in the population. This is because you don't know if you'd be attacked by a werewolf while you are out at night during a full moon. You'd also be wary of going out in the first place because vampires would exist, and if you met one without being properly armed, chances are you would be killed. You might also be wary of swimming in the Amazon, especially as a woman, if you were unsure if the Gillman was around. If you were living in a city that the mummy just decided to visit and cause a huge load of calamity, then you could be on the receiving end of a curse, or you could be greeted by a dust storm. If you also happen to be a victim of a mad scientist, you could be experimented on and turned into a freak of nature, literally. Prodigium, the fictional secret society from the Mummy movie, would exist and monitor all the monsters roaming around the earth. The sales of weapon and security systems would thrive, and people would be more alert of the news to protect themselves from the lunar cycles or daylight saving times. Worst of all, you could be turned into a vampire or a werewolf. How would life be for these monsters though? Because most of them would be shunned and feared by humanity, it would not be a stretch to imagine them isolating themselves and creating a society of their own. Werewolves are usually people that are innocent, and vampires need blood to survive a healthy life. The Gillman would isolate themselves in the ocean, and Frankenstein would definitely want to be alone with his bride. However, there would be some of these monsters who would enjoy their status and want to play on the fear society would have on them. Interestingly though, what of the monsters that would have relationships with humans? How would this pan out? But on the flip side, if humanity learned how to deal with all these monsters, life would not be as bad. Imagine if we learned to curb the bloodlust of the vampires, tame the werewolves, or become friends with the Gillman. Then we could be able to collect DNA samples or organs and use this to our benefit to maybe cure cancer or other diseases that have been a nuisance to man since the beginning of time. Using samples of blood from Dr. Jekyll or the Invisible Man could be weaponized for spies or soldiers. But as we look at this universe, it looks like the bad clearly outweighs the good. Imagine being bitten by a vampire or a werewolf. If you have reached this stage of the video, we would like to thank you for sharing your time with us, but comment below if you would want to be in the dark universe. We would love to hear your side on this. If you'd like to be informed when we roll out new videos, subscribe and smash the notification button. Share this with a friend and drop a comment if you disagree or would like to request a video. Till then, brothers and sisters, have a nice day.